Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ill Factor. Now, some of you might not be aware that aside from producing music for a living, I also created an online platform called Beat Academy. I created Beat Academy because I was really passionate about coming alongside other aspiring music producers and artists and helping them take their next step forward with their music. I do that by providing courses, everything from songwriting and arranging, mixing, mastering, building a healthy music career. Also, monthly breakdowns, a back-end community, so you can link arms with like-minded individuals. But I also do live monthly coaching calls where we deal with some questions that you might have and some struggles that you're going through in your music creating process. And I also have the opportunity to bring on some amazing guests a part of those monthly coaching calls. So this video, I'm going to share with you some highlights from some of those coaching calls. I start off with featuring Danja Handz. So he was a guest speaker on one of my live monthly coaching calls, and it was amazing. And if you're not familiar with his catalog, he's produced artists such as Britney Spears, Björk, Jay-Z, Pink. I mean, the list goes on and on. And then I was able to bring on a good friend of mine, Rick Barker, Taylor Swift's former manager, and he helped a lot of my Beat Academy members get through some of the struggles of building a healthy fan base and how to actually market your music well. And then I featured Katie Garfield, amazing singer-songwriter, who shared her experiences of how to get her music landed on some pretty big sync opportunities such as TV and film. So I hope you enjoy some of these highlights from these coaching calls. And if you want more information about joining Beat Academy, just click the link below in the description box and download the sample pack. And this is going to put you in the emailing list. And once I open the doors again for Beat Academy, you'll be the first to know. So let's dive right in. Minyar is asking, what is the most important for a new producer in order to break through in the music industry? I'm going to pass the baton for you, Nate. What do you think is the most important thing? in 140 characters or less, please. No, like, what's the most important thing? If talking to the young, the up and coming right now, what do you think is one of the first things that they should keep as a priority?
This is tough because it's a whole new world, literally, from how I was moving around and trying to break as a producer, as a young producer. But the moment it happened was when I linked with another producer. So I'm just skipping a whole lot of the traveling and the hustling I was doing. We didn't have SoundCloud and all these other different, and YouTube and all these other different things to showcase ourselves. So it was literally a lot of if you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows this person, then you might can get 15 minutes to play some beats, and whatever happens happen. But I would say the breaking moment would be getting with another producer, someone like myself, or or Ill, or just someone who can help cultivate your talent. And we are the ones who we have the relationships with the record labels and the A&Rs and the publishers and all these different people and the artists and other producers and writers. We have all these relationships where we can start to funnel your music through the pipe. So I would say, trying to be the best way to get noticed by someone like us, that's tough. And that's like a whole nother discussion. And for me, I see people that hit me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I mean, everywhere, wanting me to listen. And I want to listen, but I it's so much to filter through that I can't. So for me, I'm trying to create a platform that I can listen thoroughly and give feedback, whether I work with you or not. But at least you have a direct contact, and I can probably listen to your music. You can showcase it to me without me actually having to sort through a bunch of different emails, my business email, personal email, my social media, my DMs, and that's a lot. But we see you. I think social media has allowed us to see each other and communicate. So that's another way that you guys can get our attention. But I think that's a secondary question. But to answer the first question, it would be to link with a producer that has great relationships that can help funnel your music through his system.
Yeah, man, that's a great answer. And if I could just echo that before moving on, Nate and I, just a little bit of history, we kind of, our paths crossed. And for those who are not familiar with his amazing catalog, I mean, everything from Jay-Z, Björk, I throw that out there first because not a lot of people know about that amazing project. Britney Spears, so many, the list goes on. But at the very beginning of that, when you and I first met, it was, hey man, like let's help each other. Like what can I do to help you? In what way? Besides our love for Marvel comic books, it was more so as like, man, how can we help each other out? And so linking up and building relationships is such an important aspect to that. Man, that's a great question and great point you brought out. All right, let's see, what do we got? These are some great questions, by the way. So Saya's asking, glad to have you with us, Mr. Handz, which is, how many times are people calling you Mr. Handz?
Yeah, but I take it. That's the
first time for everything.
It makes sense, being that where I'm trying to segue into, in my career.
Exactly. Hey, I'd like to know, how much music theory does a producer require? Because it's one of the things that intimidate me when I think about collaborations. Can I get to your level just by trusting my ears? Also, I'm primarily a guitarist, which is why it becomes tough to flow out on the keys as well as I do on strings. Any tips for that? All right, so let's tackle the myth that kind of lingers. Do you need music theory to produce music?
You want me to answer that?
I'll let you go first.
If you listen to the radio, there is absolutely no music theory going on right now. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you know Ferris Jaka, you're good.
Right. You don't need no music theory. Like zero. But if you can figure out a way to flip it and apply it to what's going on, then I think it's your art. Do what you feel like, do what you feel.
I think you keyed into something really important earlier, when you're playing off the strengths. I mean, listen, when you're trying to, I remember when I met Timbaland for the first time, there was a kid next to me playing him a hip hop beat, and Timbaland says, like, you saw it in his face, is like, and I'm telling him, you're trying to sell water to a whale.
Exactly.
Like, you're trying, like, that's not going to work. So it's, you played on the strings, like you brought this melodic interpretation of what you saw in music, and you brought that to the table. Tim did drums, and he's not a big theory guy. Like, let's face it. I mean, you would see, he wasn't theory at all. So again, do you need theory? No. Can it give you the edge that allows you to be a strength to someone else? Yes. So I would recommend.
I would say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Use your theory for the songwriting aspect. Use it for that, because get great writers in who can, y'all gonna, write perfect pop songs. And when you that's how you get the edge, actually, because when you produce it, throw your theory out the window. But the integrity of your theory is in the song already, so that's not gonna go anywhere. Yeah. But now get weird and get tricky on the beat, but don't put your theory in the music. Just put your theory in the song.
Great advice, man. That's awesome. Phil's asking themes.
Okay.
So we'll start there.
Cool.
There's a whole laundry list.
Okay, so first question. Do you aim for writing universal lyrics in your sync focus? Yes, is the overall answer. Sync is all about staying broad and universal and being able to have a song that could fit multiple things. Sometimes I write specifically for a brief. I just did one for Xbox that was specifically to a brief. But Gallows was not to a brief. That was, the producer came in with this awesome track, and I had this title of Gallows, and I didn't really know what it meant. All I know is that I wanted to write a dark song that made you feel epic and cinematic, and we were trying to describe that in a way that it could describe a scene with a castle, it could describe a scene with war, it could describe a scene with werewolves like in Teen Wolf. So I think keeping things general and broad is definitely a key with sync. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself too much into one idea. And really that's just as simple as, if you're a lyricist and you're looking at the lyrics that you're writing for something and you're trying to be sync-minded and go, well, I really want this to be able to fit a commercial of some kind. Don't make up in your mind what exact project you want that to be on, because the chances of you aiming specifically for that and hitting that target every time are very, very rare. A lot of times I'll write to a brief and not get that brief, but get another brief that had nothing to do, or another placement that had nothing to do with my intentions of writing the song. Sometimes things are too on the nose.
Preach it, girl. Preach it. Come on.
So just my advice would be to keep things as general as you can. And what if for people that are interested in writing for TV film, I mean, your homework is to watch bits of all different kinds of shows and films and commercials and listen to the music that they're placing in those shows, because if that's where you're trying to get your music, you need to hear what else is working. That's a big part of what I spend my day doing, is research and watching shows and hearing the kinds of lyrical themes that they're picking up. Wow, this show uses a lot of songs about death. Maybe I'll write a song about death, because clearly that's what they're looking for. So it's a lot of research and seeing what other people are doing that's working.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I can totally relate. Like when a brief comes in and says, we're looking for something that sounds a la Black Eyed Peas, that talks about, moving forward. It's like, oh, I'll put something together. Moving forward. It's like, well, this is not really, but that's what you asked for.
Right.
And so sometimes there's this weird thing that happens when you get a brief. They ask for something specific. You give them that specific response. They don't like it.
Like, oh, it's too specific.
It's too specific. So guys, I'm telling you, like, this is years and years of experience of submitting briefs. Both Kate and I have just submitting, one again and again. And I would get frustrated of the whole process of like, dude, you asked me for a happy song. I gave you a freaking happy song. And now you're saying that you wanted something that Johnny Depp could cry to. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. It's like,
but a lot of times they don't know what they want, or they don't know until they hear it. So that's another reason why you don't want to get too specific. Yeah. You want to just write what feels good and follow what your instincts are, and it'll be right for something. And about being frustrated, let me just get to that real quick before we go to the rest of this question.
This is a safe place, girl. Let it out.
I spend so many hours a week, excuse my French, but bitching about briefs, and not just briefs, but the writing process. It's not always cupcakes and rainbows. It's a personal, creative, exhausting, challenging thing to do. And especially when you're always trying to give other people what they want, you can't please everybody. You're not going to hit the mark every time. You're probably not going to hit the mark half the time, but all you need is one opportunity to snowball that into more. So stay the course, allow yourself to get frustrated, but keep right on it, because we all live in that space all the time. We have good days, we have bad days. That's just the bottom line.
These are my questions for Katie. How did you get your first song placed on a TV show? Please share with us the story of how the song Gallows came to be, and how many people did it take to make it into a finished product. I think we covered a little bit about that. What came first, melody or the instrumental, and how long did it take from the inception of the composition to release?
Great questions. Thanks for the question, Elisa. How did you get your first song placed on a TV show? The first placement I ever had was actually in a movie that I was in. So that helped. I was one of the lead actresses in the movie, and they had a scene where they needed a song to be playing in a car. And I cozied on up to the music supervisor on set and said, hey, by the way, I'm a songwriter, and I've got a song that would be perfect for this scene. Couldn't I submit it to be in the scene? But the first song that I got placed, I guess, on a TV show was on the show Rain on CW. And I wrote it with Micah, my producer, and this incredible artist named Gabe Dixon. He's an awesome indie singer-songwriter artist. And we wrote this song called On Your Side. And it's about being there for somebody and supporting them and being on their side. And we submitted it through our publishers, and it ended up getting placed. But once again, that goes back to, even if you don't have a publisher, keeping a very general lyric idea. So On Your Side is obviously a very general idea and can work for many, many different scenes or projects. So I think that really helped the song to get placed. And it's been placed a few times since then. As far as Gallows goes, it was just the three of us. It was Becky, my third co-writer, myself, and Micah, the producer. What came first, melody or instrumental? Both came at the same time. The first thing we had was that title idea, and then we got into the right, and I mentioned the title idea to them and sort of described the kind of feeling I wanted to invoke. And then Micah's very quick, and he sat down and created the track as we went. And as he was building the track out, Becky and I were top lining to the track. How long did it take from the inception of the composition to the release? We wrote it in one day. Like I said, did the vocal in one day, and then Micah spent, I don't know, maybe another week or so on the tightening up the track and mixing everything. And then I think it got placed on Teen Wolf a month or two later. And I released it prior to the Teen Wolf placement because it was going to be placed. So I released it right before the show aired so that people could find it if they liked it on the show.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. And a lot of times these things just happen so naturally. I've never, like, the thing that happened with me and Ubisoft, and it's funny that we have that common link with Assassin's Creed, is I was aiming to do Champion Sound for a Verizon commercial, and it never panned out. So I was like, this stinks. And it was just a 30-second clip of that chorus. And I sent it to Cobalt. Center was like, yeah, it's lingering there. So when they came back and said, hey, we want to use this for Assassin's Creed, that's the thing. It just came naturally. And a lot of times when I'm like, when a brief comes in, and I've shared briefs with you guys on Beat Academy, and I'm going to do a lot more of that coming up. And when I follow a brief, I'm like, to the T, I'm like, man, I get so downcasted about that. But I think a good focus is to just go with what feels naturally, what goes, like what flows just the most smoothest for you to do. Just like, wow, get inspired, because those are the ones that really find a home, rather than the ones that like, I'm custom making this for this brief or that thing, right? Would you agree that a lot of times
you want it to still sound original, not derivative of something that they exactly told you to do? Use these briefs or this information that you gather, even if you're just sitting around watching TV and kind of taking it all in for writing for sync. Allow yourself to be influenced and inspired by what they're telling you or what you're taking in, but still keep your own ideas and concepts, and make sure that at the end of the day, you're just ending up with a good song, whether it gets placed in that specific brief or moment or whatever. Just end up with a good song at the end of the day. That's your job.
That's it. That's what's going to win.
Next question.
I wish I had a bunch of mics to just drop here and there, but all right. We've got Riva with the next question. I'd like some advice on attracting the right fans online. I've currently got an original song up and a lot of covers. I stick to current pop because that's the type of music I'm pursuing for myself. So I get two main types of people. One, musicians promoting their own music and just want to follow backs. Two, really sketchy people. This has been happening for years now since I started doing covers. So obviously my current plans are not working and I need to make a change. Is an ad the best way to target people? I imagine that would be my fan base. Are there any other things that I can do? What are some things that you've seen artists do which make a big impact in creating a strong fan base?
Sure, Riva, that is a great question. And I love how detailed your audience is. I mean, this makes it so helpful because I don't have to sit there and try to peel the layers of the onion back. They've already opened it wide up for me. So the first thing that you want to do is, I've currently got an original song up and a lot of covers. What I would make sure that you're doing is that you're utilizing YouTube for your covers, because that is a search engine. YouTube is still the #1 discovery tool for music. And then when you make sure that your description is filled out properly, you can then drive people from those covers over to hear your original song. You're always going to get musicians that promote themselves. It sucks. My advice to you is never be that person. What I would do is I would mute and block those people from your social channels, because ultimately they're never going to buy your music. They're probably never going to share your music or consume your music. This is your real estate. You have the ability to let your house look however you want it to look. So if you ever get fans that are being rude or whatever, block them, get rid of them. It's not about the number of followers that you have. It's about the quality of followers that you have. I would much rather have 10 people that did everything I wanted than 100 people that just took up space, because what happens right now is that your messaging will never hit everyone. So if you've got your fans loaded up with a bunch of musicians and you post something and you're needing it to hit the consumers, it may not hit them. Facebook doesn't know the difference between the two. So let's make sure we're building the right product there. Ads are definitely the best way to target people. I just did an event for the CD Baby DIY Musicians Conference. This video is out there, but it was called Building Your Audience, Facebook Ads for $1 a Day. And I did a case study with one of my artists where we were taking 30-second cover videos to a 1.5-minute cover videos to reaching original music. We went through a process in order to do that. So you are absolutely correct. The key is showing up every day on your socials and making sure that you're feeding the right audience. You can have the best hamburger stand in the world, but if you open it up in a town of vegetarians, you've pretty much screwed yourself. So let's make sure that you are putting the right product in front of the right person. Utilize Facebook ads, Instagram ads to generate more to go towards those folks. And that will help out a lot. But I think you're going to be okay because you ask very thorough questions, Riva, and you've got an idea of who you are, which is step number one. Because a lot of people don't. They just throw a whole bunch of stuff out there. You're doing it with a purpose, and I love that. Yeah. And that's what will make a strong fan base.
Yeah, and also to realize, and this is something I harbor in a lot of having realistic expectations from the reality. I mean, if for a lot of people who are hearing this, they might just be starting to do this. And Riva's been, she's a long-term member here, and she's been doing, trucking at this for a while. And it could easily be so overwhelming and daunting when you don't see the right amount of results. You're like, I don't really see it, therefore I don't think I'm good enough. This is a long-term game. This has always been.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, we're trying to function in a dysfunctional business because our rewards aren't in direct proportion to the work that we put in. And for a lot of people, that's really hard for them to get a grasp on. That's why this business isn't for everyone. The biggest difference between a superstar and an artist that sings really well is work ethic. It's not talent. The talent, it's like there's people that are better singers that aren't superstars, but the superstars treat it like a business. The superstars are in it for the long game. Like you just said, it's like they're in it for the long haul. Those people that just want to show up, have a hit song, get on a couple red carpets, they're a dime a dozen. I mean, go look at the pop charts this year, and who don't you see from last year? Who don't you see from the year before? But who do you consistently see year after year after year? Those are your superstars, and they're the ones that are willing to make changes when needed. They're the ones that are sitting back looking at their business, seeing what's not working. They're the ones that have a team in place that their job every day is to get their message in front of as many people as possible. Other folks are waiting to be discovered. Superstars are dropping it in your lap every single day. So I want you to kind of get that mentality of a superstar, because now you've got the same tools. You can wake up every morning and drop your stuff in front of someone and no one can tell you anything. No, sorry, you can't do that. Bullshit. I sure can. No one can stop you from getting your music out there except for you, period.
Darren Clark is asking, hi, I wanted advice on an artist who does not sing but produces music and how to get into the scene on the back of your music talent. So I guess what he's asking is, a lot of your advice seems fittable for artists who are in the limelight, who they're writing the songs there. But what about instrumentalists or producers or artists that are just making music without a lot of that?
Well, I think it's the same way. You're still going to want to get your product. Let's not even call it. You want to get your product in front of as many people as possible. Also, too, Darren, and I think I know Darren. You're also, if you ever want to get top line writers, if you ever want to get vocalists, you'd be utilizing social media as a way to build relationships, as a way to go out and compliment people on what it is that they're doing, looking for collaborations. But whatever we're selling, we're either selling ourselves, we're selling our product, we're selling relationships. We're always selling. Those of you that say, I don't want to be a salesperson. Well, you are a salesperson. I sell to my kids every day to try to get them what I need them to do. My wife, my we are always selling. We're always doing that. So I would use it as a way to build relationships. Also, too, is I would go study other people that are having success in your space and see what it is that they're doing. You know, that's we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, there's people out there having success with what you're doing. Go look at what they're doing and see how much you can duplicate. See how much is open. Reach out to them and compliment them on what they're doing, and just start following them. Put them on notifications. So if you, every time they post, we did this early on with an artist, is we put notifications on so that every time another artist posted, we posted, so we could match what it is that they were doing. And it worked out really well. It's like, damn, they're working a lot. You know, it's like if your notifications keep going off and you're like, ooh, I wouldn't have done that. That's what you see as you're getting outworked. So you don't ever want to get outworked. But Darren, I appreciate the question, my friend.
Wow, that's a great idea. I've never even thought of that. That's really cool.
Well, I hope this video has been encouraging and helpful for you. I know it's been a huge encouragement for me and so many of my Beat Academy members when we have these monthly coaching calls, especially when we have such amazing, talented guests featured on them. So if you want more information about Beat Academy, just click the link below in the description box. I'm going to send you a free sample pack loaded with construction kits, loops, transition effects. They're 100% royalty free, and you could use them in any DAW. That's just my gift to you for watching this video. And once you do that, I'll also add you to my emailing list, just giving you a little bit of information about me and what Beat Academy is all about. But I'll also let you know, and you'll get the first dibs and to know when I open the doors up for Beat Academy again. So looking forward to having you on board, and I'll see you next time.